What's up guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to flock parts of your interior, and this is a method of DIY suede that is mainly used in rally and racing to put on the dash of a car to keep the sun from glaring in the driver's eyes. As you can see, there's my dash reflecting right there. I'm not going to do my whole dash because that's a lot of work and my dash is still in perfect condition. But my issue is the cheap plastic Ford uses all over the interior. So instead of wrapping it in suede and having to deal with gluing it down and it coming up and there being wrinkles, I just got this DIY flocking kit. I got it from Lee Valley there, and it was about $35. It comes with the fiber here, which is pretty much just a bunch of little black pieces that when glued down will look like suede. Then we have the glue here, and then this is what you load the flocking into, and then you kind of like pump this thing here and it shoots out the end, and then that should help you get a pretty smooth finish on the flocking. So I'm going to show you the whole process on how to do this. It is a really cheap DIY method of making your interior look a lot better. So I'm going to start with taking the trim on my two A-pillars right here off. So I'm going to take that off and then show you the process on how to correctly flock them. And then if this turns out pretty decent, then I'm going to use it on other parts of my interior too. And then I also might use this later. I'm working on creating a store, and I might make custom suede parts. So I'm using this method to sell on there for anyone interested in that, but that is a little bit in the future, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the parts and get into the process of flocking. So here are the two plastic trim pieces that came off of my A-pillars. As you can see, they're just like a textured plastic, so hopefully this suede will look a lot better. I have them on some jack stands to keep them elevated off the ground so the glue doesn't touch the ground and mess them up. You probably should do this on top of something like a tarp, but I'm just going to do it on the garage floor and then sweep it up. But in order to do this, you want to make sure that your surface is completely clean. So I have some rubbing alcohol right here and a microfiber, and I'm just going to spray them down with alcohol and wipe them off to make sure they're completely clean. And then we can start applying the glue. You can see there's some residue there from my tuner mount. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tripod or the camera on the tripod and start wiping them down, and then I'll show you how to apply the glue, because this stuff will start to dry after about 5 minutes. So you want to work fast and make sure that you don't let it dry, otherwise that won't stick and your part is essentially ruined. So I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set up, and then I'll basically just record the rest from there because I will have to move fast and I can't worry about having to move the camera. So you'll want to make sure that you have everything ready to go before you put the glue on. So we're going to go ahead and load this thing up here. You can see this just slides in there, and then you'll go like that and it'll blow the flocking onto your part. So make sure that you fill the part that does not have holes in the bottom, and then you'll take this bag, which looks extremely messy, but you can see in there's all the little fibers that we'll be using, and I'm just gonna do my best to not make a huge mess here and just fill this up. Not really sure how much I'm gonna need. I'm gonna pour it out of this side of the bag here. But you can see it's just a bunch of little like fuzzes. It kind of just looks like lint, but it's just all black. Ooh, I almost just spilled a lot of that. Okay. So that looks like it should be enough for one. Okay, I am about to make a huge mess here. Okay, so you can see it's all over my fingers. So definitely be wary of that when you're doing this. But the last thing you want is this to run out, and then you have to refill it up while your glue is applied, and then you're gonna have to let the glue dry while you go refill it back up. So I'm gonna make sure that it has plenty of flocking in there, and close this bag so that it does not make a mess. So there's that. Going to put this on the top there. I guess I'll try to show you how it works just by doing it here and making a mess. But you see, you do this and then you can see the flocking shoots out of it there. So that's what you're just going to do on the part. And then now for the glue, make sure that you use a foam brush, because this will get the, you can use a roller too, just make sure that it's a foam roller, because the other ones can get little lint and bristles in your glue, and you don't want that. So I use a foam brush just because I don't have a foam roller on hand. This is all I have, but it'll do the job. Just make sure you get it smooth, because if you don't get it smooth, it will show up in the final product. So you'll want to make sure to be careful with all of that. You have to pop these little things off of the glue that hold the lid on. And then we will pop the lid up. I was going to put the glue in this little cap right here, but I think the brush will fit just down inside this container, so I'm just gonna do that. If I can even get this thing open, but it's not. There we go. So you can see there's our glue. It's just black sealer there. That paper is not on there, so I'll have to be careful with that. And then just gonna dip the brush in there, get it all nice and spread out on one of the parts, and then I'm gonna start flocking it. So that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's go ahead and get started. So both of the pieces are done, and so far, before this is, okay, they're not done, but the flocking has been applied, and as you can see, it made a huge flocking mess. So I'm gonna get started on cleaning up this mess, and I'm gonna let these dry for about 24 hours, and then tomorrow we will see if I turn them upside down, if they end up looking good, or if I have to order new A-pillar trim. But so far it looks really good, but that could just be some flocking stuck on there that's not actually going to stick to the glue, so we'll have to see. So I'm going to show you a quick little trick right here. After you clean up, if you just leave your flocking all over the ground instead of being smart and covering the ground, unlike I did, you can sweep it up and you can see there's all this grass and whatever from my garage. But I got this sifter here, and I'm just going to scoop as much of this as I can into the sifter. And what we're able to do is salvage some of this by getting rid of all the extra stuff. I mean, if you were really smart, you could just put something clean underneath what you're flocking, but if I'm being honest with you, you'd have to cover like your whole entire garage or do it in like a small room, because this stuff has floated everywhere. So it's really not worth the effort, because you're gonna have to clean it up anyways unless you were to do it outside, which wouldn't be too bad of an idea. But there's that, and then you can see as I shake it, the flocking falls out. So now I'm just going to sift it into this bag here, and then I will have a pretty good amount left of flocking if I need to do like a smaller part or anything like that. So it is the next day and they are completely dry. So now what the next step is, you can see it has all this stuff all over it. That's just because I let these dry in my garage, and I also swept out the garage so stuff was in the air and all over it, but you can see it doesn't stick at all. So what you're going to want to do afterwards is kind of just start by like taking them and dumping them upside down and kind of trying to like shake them out and make sure that all of the extra flocking falls off, because you don't want that all over your car. And what I did after I started to glue this stuff down is I just used the empty air cannon and blow off all of the extra flocking. And I also think that using the empty air cannon and putting the air onto it kind of helps push the flocking down into the glue so that it sticks, because I've seen some people who have made videos of how to do flocking, and they just have the flocking in a sifter and they just shake it over their part like that, and the next day they cleaned off the flocking, and you could see that like not very much of it stuck, and there's like little spots, like you can see roughly right there on the edge. I put my finger there whenever I was carrying them, and you can see it kind of left a little spot where you can see the glue, and some people's will look completely like that. So make sure that you be very generous with this stuff, because you don't want any bald spots or anything, and make sure you just keep putting the air on it to kind of help push it down. If I look at my fingers, I've been touching this, I don't see any of the little fuzz pieces on there, so that's good. But you can see mine are like a nice dark black. They're very smooth in texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, it's a very soft interior detail brush, and I'm just going to brush off the whole entire thing, partially to get off this like these bugs and whatever has fallen on here, but it's also going to help brush off some of the extra flocking. But you want to use a soft one, because you don't want to end up like pulling some off that won't fall off normally. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll be ready to reinstall them. So I got them installed, and you can see they look pretty good. You can see there's a few little I guess you can see here, this one's got like that mark there, and that one's got some uneven parts on it, and I also had to put my tuner mount right here, so that probably messed it up under there a little bit, and then I couldn't get that panel to snap in the right way. But I mean, other than that, they turned out pretty much perfect. Seems just about like what everyone online was able to get. I checked out some other videos, and I think mine actually look a little bit better, so I'm pretty happy with it. I might try wrapping them in like a suede fabric like I did with my doors there, because this has been like very good and extremely durable too. Like I always put my elbow right here, and you can see there's a little mark there. That's just because I haven't cleaned it recently. But this stuff has been great. I got it just at a fabric store, and I have a video on how to do this, so if you're interested in how to do that, I'll try to remember to link it down in the description, but if I forget, just make a comment down below and I'll link my video to that, or you can just go find it. But this stuff is really easy to clean, and you can touch it, mess with it, and it always looks fine. This stuff, I don't think it would be very easy to clean, and if you touch it, you kind of mess it up. So I don't think this is the best option, but it is definitely the easiest. It's really easy to do. That stuff was fairly difficult, and some parts you won't be able, like you can't wrap your whole dash in this stuff obviously unless you're like, or you're able to do upholstery, but for things that are like relatively flat and won't have a lot of like wrinkles, you can see right there's a little wrinkle in the side, but honestly I don't really even mind it. So I might try doing this, and maybe like these parts here in some of the black suede fabric, and that'll kind of match my shift boot too. And I also want to do this piece here, so we'll just have to see how it turns out, if it lasts, if it fades in the sun or anything. But that is pretty much it for this video. I hope it helped on how to do it. It's pretty easy, and it definitely looks better if you have some worn down old crusty parts. But that's pretty much it. Please follow me on Instagram at Nick Jernap, same as my channel name, and please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.